akin pong kaalaman, tinakot po ang Supreme Court noon. Kaya po napilitan inventin yung constructive resignation. Sapagkat malinaw na malinaw po sa ating saligang batas, nakalagay doon, 4 grounds to remove a president. For resignation, I never resign. In fact, before I stepped down, I sent a notice to Congress, to the lower house, the Senate, that I'm temporarily on leave. That is on record. The then Senate President Macalintal has it, and the then Speaker Pontabella has that notice. I never resigned. So very clearly, under the Constitution, there's only 4 grounds to remove a president. By resignation, I never resigned. Second, permanently incapacitated, I'm very strong, Mr. Macalintal. Third, conviction to impeachment trial. I was never convicted in the impeachment trial. It is the impeachment trial court of the Senate. Precisely, I believe that the premise of the Constitution made the Supreme Court Chief Justice as the presiding officer so that the rule of law should be followed to the letter. When the prosecution walked out, the presiding officer could have called them or charge them for contempt. And if they don't come back, I believe that's very elementary. I'm not a lawyer. The case should have been dismissed for failure to prosecute. I think I'm talking as a lawyer. I'm a frustrated lawyer anyway.
Thank you.
So, I did not resign. I'm not permanently incapacitated. And at the same time, I'm very much alive. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
So, never in the Constitution says that there is a constructive resignation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Siguro, kung si Mr. Estrada nag-argue sa Supreme Court, baka nanalo pa siya. Anyway, alam mo kasi, when I said that he resigned, I was just quoting from the Supreme Court decision. And that decision is already there. Sabi nga nila, there is no use crying over spilt milk, but there is use crying why the milk was spilt, di ba? So paminsan-minsan titingnan natin ano ba talaga nangyari, and precisely that is the reason why we have this debate. But then, insofar as we are concerned, from the said decision of the Supreme Court, the decision says that you resigned, and one of those who signed, or 2 of those who signed that particular decision, I think are present, the Honorable Justice Pardo and Justice Gutierrez. Exempted nga ba? Dissenting. Okay. So, with that, I think that decision is the only basis of our argument, and you may have your own argument on your own personal capacity. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, I may add that the basis of the Supreme Court that I resigned was that diary of Angara, which is never true. And even in the diary, that's not the diary of Angara, it's the diary of one of his staff. And in fact, the one who wrote the diary was not even called by the Supreme Court to testify. The genuineness of that diary, right? So that's unfair. Okay. And I believe that even our most trusted and most loved icon of democracy, the late President Aquino, Cory Aquino, she even apologized to me in public. It was a big mistake. At lahat naman tayo nagkakamali. Patawarin mo na ako. Thank you.
I would like to entertain a question from Professor Dennis C. Pangan of the University of the East.
Who are mostly appointees of President GMA will rule in favor of President Estrada.
Any of the two attorneys?
Well, I think the Supreme Court will decide not on the basis of those who appointed them, but on the basis of the law and the facts of the case. Hindi naman po pwede sabihin na porket inappoint sila ng Pangulong Arroyo ay magde-decide sila against Mr. Estrada. Remember, the President will be leaving her office by June 30 of 2010. And I believe that the present Supreme Court is an independent Supreme Court. Hindi naman natin masasabi na porket may magsasabi sa kanila o magdidikta, eh gagawin nila yon. No, I don't think that would be very, very unfair to the present composition of the Supreme Court. Hindi natin po pwedeng sabihin na madidiktahan sila. During the introduction, Dean Amado Valdez raised the issue so whether or not the Supreme Court could decide the case. I think the Supreme Court to decide the case immediately. Madali po madesisyonan yan. Sapagkat alam na nga ng tao lahat ng issue. I don't think the justices of the Supreme Court are not studying the issue now. I don't think the COMELEC will not study the issue now knowing that this particular case will reach them. Kung talagang concern ang ating mga taga-COMELEC at ating mga justices sa kapakanan ng taong bayan, dapat ngayon pa lang mag-decide na sila. At ngayon pa lang, pag-aralan nila yan. And I'm sure that since the filing of the certificate of candidacy will be by November 30 and deadline, it will only take COMELEC 30 days to decide. And 30 days for the Supreme Court also to decide. So by January or February, we will know that particular issue. The matter of bringing the issue before a presidential tribunal was also raised by Dean Amado Valdez. You know, as a lawyer, I have some reservations about the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. I believe that the creation of the Presidential Electoral Tribunal is a misnomer. Hindi dapat nakikreate ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal. If you review the provisions of the Supreme Court, there is not the provision of our Constitution. There is nothing in the Constitution which says that a Presidential Electoral Tribunal shall be created. Walang sinasabing ganon. The Constitution says the Supreme Court sitting en banc shall decide election protest of President and Vice President. In other words, it should be an ordinary case. Do not create a Presidential Electoral Tribunal where you will create other departments and pay additional payments to other personnel of the Supreme Court. Bakit kailangan mag-create ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal? Dagdag gastos yan. Pero bakit ba tayo nagkaroon ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal? The Presidential Electoral Tribunal was created because in the 1935 Constitution, there is no provision as to how an election protest against a president or vice president could be decided. Wala tayong provision sa 1935 Constitution kung sino magdi-decide ng protest against president and vice president. And it so happened that sometime in 1950, a protest was filed against the elected vice president, and nobody, no agency could decide that. And so a law was passed by Congress creating a Presidential Electoral Tribunal only for that particular purpose. Ang nangyari, it was carried on forever hanggang ngayon. But I believe that the Supreme Court, sitting en banc, can immediately decide a case pertaining to the qualification or disqualification of a candidate. There is no need for a Supreme Court to create a Presidential Electoral Tribunal because the Constitution does not say so. While the Constitution says that the Supreme Court can pass rules and regulations for this purpose, it does not mean to say you create another tribunal where the Chief Justice is merely addressed as Mr. Chairman. I don't want my Chief Justice to be addressed as Mr. Chairman. I don't want an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court to be addressed as Madam Member of this tribunal. Mukhang mababa ang ganong address sa kanila. I want my Chief Justice to remain as a Chief Justice. And I want my Associate Justice to remain as an Associate Justice as long as they sit in the Supreme Court of the Philippines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney Macalintal. Attorney